Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, watching the strange ship approach through the viewport. After 3 years of deep space exploration, this was the moment humanity had been waiting for. First contact with an alien species. Distance closing to 5,000 kilometers, reported Dr. Lisa Grant from her science station. I'm reading multiple energy signatures from their vessel. The technology is definitely not human. Pete Collins looked up from his engineering console. Their ship is huge, Captain. At least 3 times our size. The hull design is unlike anything I've ever seen. Jake nodded, trying to keep his excitement under control. The Horizon's Edge was a research vessel, not a warship. They had been mapping star systems beyond the outer rim when their sensors detected the alien craft. According to protocol, Jake had immediately sent a peaceful greeting message in multiple frequencies and mathematical sequences. Any response to our communications? Jake asked. Nothing yet, sir, replied Communications Officer Beth Parker. But they're definitely scanning us. I can detect their sensor beams. The alien ship was beautiful in a strange way. It had flowing curves instead of the angular design of human vessels. Blue lights pulsed along its hull in patterns that seemed almost like breathing. Jake wondered what kind of beings had built such a craft. Captain, I'm detecting weapon systems powering up on their ship, Pete said, his voice tense. Multiple energy projectors are coming online. Jake felt his stomach drop. Are you sure? Positive, sir. Those are definitely weapons. Big ones. Raise our shields and prepare evasive maneuvers, Jake ordered. But do not power up our mining lasers. I don't want them to think we're being aggressive. The alien ship moved closer, its weapons clearly visible now as they extended from hidden ports. Jake could see at least a dozen cannon-like devices pointing directly at the horizon's edge. Incoming transmission, Beth announced. It's audio and visual. Put it on screen. The main viewer flickered, then showed the bridge of the alien vessel. Jake found himself looking at a being that was clearly not human. The creature stood about 7 feet tall, with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. Its head was elongated, with large black eyes and what appeared to be gills on the sides of its neck. When it spoke, the universal translator struggled to convert its language. I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire, the alien said in a deep, rumbling voice. You will surrender your vessel immediately and submit to boarding. Your weapons. Technology violates galactic law. Jake stepped forward, trying to appear calm. Admiral, I'm Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth vessel Horizon's Edge. We come in peace. We have no weapons, only scientific equipment. The alien's large eyes narrowed. Do not lie to us, human. Our sensors clearly detect multiple high-energy devices capable of cutting through planetary crust. Your scientific equipment could level cities. Those are mining lasers, Dr. Grant interrupted, moving to stand beside Jake. We use them to collect mineral samples from asteroids and planetary surfaces. They're not weapons. Admiral Kethvar made a sound that might have been laughter, but it sounded more like a growl. Mining lasers capable of cutting through solid rock at a distance of 50 kilometers? Your deception is obvious. Pete Collins looked confused. Captain, our mining equipment is standard civilian grade. Every colony ship has similar tools. Colony ship? The Admiral's voice rose. You admit to being an invasion vessel? No, Jake said quickly. We're explorers, scientists. We study star systems and look for planets suitable for human settlement. Settlement, the Admiral repeated slowly. Conquest, you mean? First you send scout ships with planet-destroying weapons disguised as mining tools. Then you bring your colony fleets to claim our worlds. Lisa stepped forward, holding up her hands in a peaceful gesture. Admiral, there's been a misunderstanding. Humans have never encountered other intelligent life before today. We had no idea other species existed. We're not invaders. More lies, Admiral Kethvar snarled. Your ship carries atmospheric processors capable of changing the very air of a planet. Terraforming technology is banned by the Galactic Accords. Only species planning conquest would develop such weapons. Jake felt the situation spiraling out of control. Everything the aliens saw as threatening was just normal human technology. The mining lasers were for collecting samples. The atmospheric processors were for making uninhabitable planets suitable for human life. None of it was designed for war. Admiral, please listen. Jake tried again. Humans are peaceful. We explore space to find new homes because our population is growing. We don't want to fight anyone. Your very presence here proves your aggressive intent, the Admiral replied. This system is claimed by the Zephyrian Empire, yet you enter our space with weapons and terraforming equipment. There can be only one explanation. We didn't know this was your space, Pete said. Our star charts show no claims or boundaries. Out here. Because you have not contacted the Galactic Council, Admiral Kethvar said. All civilized species register their territorial claims. Only raiders and conquerors ignore galactic law. Beth looked up from her console. Captain, I'm detecting more ships approaching. At least 6 vessels, all showing weapons signatures. Jake realized they were in serious trouble. The aliens had completely misunderstood human intentions and technology. What seemed like peaceful exploration tools to humans appeared to be invasion, equipment to the Zephyrians. Admiral, we want to resolve this peacefully, Jake said. Let us contact our government. We can arrange proper diplomatic meetings. There will be no diplomacy with planet killers, Admiral Kethvar declared. You will surrender now or we will destroy your ship, Captain, Pete whispered urgently. Their weapons are fully charged. I don't think our shields can handle that much firepower. Jake made a decision that would change everything. All hands, prepare for emergency jump. Pete, can you get us out of here? Our jump drive is charged, but it will take 30 seconds to activate. Do it! Admiral Kethvar seemed to sense what was happening. You will not escape to bring your invasion fleet back here. Lisa, send a message to Earth, Jake ordered. Tell them what happened. Tell them we may have started an interstellar war by accident. The horizon's edge shuddered as the Zephyrian ships opened fire. The shields held, but Jake could see they wouldn't last long against so many weapons. Jump drive ready, Pete announced. Jump, space, twisted around them as the horizon's edge leapt across light years in an instant. When the stars settled, they were far from the Zephyrian ships. But Jake knew this was just the beginning of humanity's problems. Beth, get me a direct line to Earth Command, he said. We need to warn them that we're about to face an alien empire that thinks we're invaders. And the worst part is, they're convinced our civilian equipment is some kind of super weapon. As the horizon's edge raced toward Earth, Jake could only hope that humanity would be ready for what was coming. The galaxy had just learned that humans existed, and they were already afraid. 6 months had passed since the horizon's edge returned to Earth with news of first contact gone wrong. The message had spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Admiral Kethvar had wasted no time telling other alien species about the dangerous humans and their terrible weapons. Captain Amy Rodriguez stood in the command center of the new frontier, watching dozens of human ships gather in Earth's orbit. The sight should have been inspiring, but Amy knew what the rest of the galaxy thought they were seeing. To alien eyes, this looked like a war fleet preparing for invasion. "Status report on the colonial convoy," Amy said to her first officer. "Lieutenant Gary Brooks. All ships are reporting ready for departure," Gary replied. "The Titan's cargo is loaded with construction equipment. The Green Harvest has the agricultural modules. The Deep Drill is carrying the mining platforms." Amy nodded, but she felt uneasy. Each of these ships had been designed for peaceful purposes, but alien intelligence reports painted a very different picture. She had read the intercepted communications that Earth's spy satellites had picked up from various alien networks. Commander Ben Hayes contacted Amy from the bridge of the Titan's cargo. His massive vessel was designed to transport heavy equipment to new colonies, but alien reports described it as a fortress ship capable of establishing military bases on any planet. "Amy, are you seeing these intelligence reports?" Ben asked over the comm system. "Which ones now?" Amy sighed. There were so many alien species talking about the human threat that Earth's computers could barely translate them all. The Andromedan. "Republic just issued a warning to all ships to avoid human space. They're calling us the species with planet-cracking technology." Amy shook her head. "They're talking about our mining equipment again. It was frustrating how every piece of human technology was being misinterpreted. The mining lasers that could cut through asteroid rock were seen as weapons that could destroy planets. The atmospheric processors that could make dead worlds livable were viewed as tools for wiping out existing atmospheres. Even their food production systems were being called biological warfare devices." Dr. Frank Miller joined Amy on the bridge. He was the chief scientist for the colonial mission, and he looked as worried as Amy felt. "Captain, I've been monitoring alien communication channels," Frank said. "The fear is spreading to species we've never even heard of. The Stellari Confederation just increased their military budget by 300% because of us." "What are they saying now?" Amy asked. Frank pulled up a holographic display showing intercepted alien messages. "This is from the Chronari Federation. They're convinced that our atmospheric manipulation devices are designed to make planets uninhabitable for other species." Amy read the translation and felt sick. The aliens thought human terraforming was a form of environmental warfare. They believed humans planned to poison alien worlds and then move in to claim them. "And this one is from the Zephyrian Empire," Frank continued. "They're warning everyone about our mobile construction platforms that can build military bases anywhere." Amy knew he was talking about their standard colony ships. Every human colony vessel carried automated construction equipment that could build cities, spaceports, and industrial facilities. To humans, this was just practical planning. To aliens, it looked like humanity could establish military strongholds on any planet they chose. Lieutenant Gary Brooks looked up from his console. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Green Harvest." Captain Steve Parker appeared on the screen. His ship was filled with agricultural equipment, seeds, and biological samples for starting farms on new worlds. But alien reports described the Green Harvest as a biological weapons platform carrying samples of deadly Earth organisms. "Amy, we have a problem," Steve said. "I'm monitoring alien emergency broadcasts. 3 different species just declared biological warfare alerts because of our ship." "What's their concern this time?" Amy asked, though she was afraid to hear the answer. "They're terrified of our Earth bacteria and viruses," Steve explained. "They think we're carrying biological weapons that could wipe out entire alien populations, Maikai." realized with horror that the aliens might be right to worry, just not in the way they thought. Humans carried countless microorganisms that could be deadly to alien life forms. But these weren't weapons. They were just the natural bacteria that every human carried. The agricultural samples were meant for growing food, not for biological warfare. "How are they getting such detailed information about our ships?" Gary asked. Dr. Miller pulled up another display. "They're intercepting our communications and scanning our vessels from long range, but they're interpreting everything in the worst possible way." Amy watched as more reports came in. The Void Hunters, a nomadic alien race, had changed their migration routes to avoid human space. The Crystalline Collective had started building new defensive stations along their borders. Even peaceful species like the Gentle Minds were preparing for what they saw as the coming human invasion. "This is from the neural web," Frank said, showing another transmission. "They're sharing our ship designs with every species in the galaxy. Look how they're describing the deep drill." Amy read the alien analysis of their mining ship. They called it a planetary assault vessel equipped with penetrative weaponry capable of reaching a planet's core. The reality was that the deep drill was designed to extract metals and minerals from asteroids and uninhabited worlds. Commander Ben Hayes contacted them again. "Amy, the situation is getting worse. The Galactic Trade Union just banned all commerce with human space. They're afraid our industrial conversion systems could turn their own equipment against them." Amy knew Ben was referring to the standard fabrication units that every human ship carried. These devices could take raw materials and turn them into tools, spare parts, or construction materials. It was basic human technology that made long-distance space travel possible. But aliens saw it as the ability to turn anything into weapons. "Captain," Gary said quietly, "are we really going ahead with the colonial mission? The entire galaxy thinks we're an invasion fleet." Amy looked out at the human ships gathering in Earth's orbit. The medical bay was loaded with hospitals and medical equipment, but aliens called it a biological research vessel for developing new pathogens. The school ship carried teachers and educational materials, but alien reports described it as a psychological warfare platform for converting alien children. Even the water bearer, designed to provide clean water to new colonies, was seen as a planetary contamination device capable of poisoning entire water supplies. Dr. Miller shook his head in disbelief. "Every single ship in our convoy is being described as a weapon of some kind. The aliens have turned our entire colonial effort into an invasion fleet in their minds." "The worst part," Amy said slowly, "is that we haven't even shown them our actual military capabilities yet." The truth was that humanity's space military was tiny compared to their civilian fleet. Most human ships were designed for exploration, colonization, or trade. The few military vessels that existed were small patrol craft designed to protect shipping lanes from pirates. "Captain," Gary said, "what happens when they realize that these civilian ships they're so afraid of aren't even our warships?" Amy didn't want to think about that. If the galaxy was this terrified of human mining equipment and farming supplies, what would happen when they learned about humanity's real military potential? "Signal the fleet," Amy ordered. "We're proceeding with the mission as planned. Maybe when they see us actually building peaceful colonies instead of military bases, they'll understand that we're not the threat they think we are." But even as she said it, Amy doubted her own words. The galaxy had already made up its mind about humanity, and changing that opinion would be much harder than anyone had expected. Dr. Kate Williams sat in her office at the Human Colonial Initiative, staring at the latest diplomatic reports. Each attempt at peaceful contact with alien species had made things worse. Every human gesture of friendship was being interpreted as a threat or deception. The Andromedan Republic has agreed to serve as neutral intermediaries, her assistant Mike Turner reported. But they're requesting that we limit our fleet movements while negotiations are ongoing. Kate rubbed her temples, feeling a headache coming on. Which fleet movements? We're just sending colony ships to uninhabited systems. That's what they're worried about, Mike said. The Andromedans think we're establishing military bases disguised as colonies. The irony was painful. Humans were trying to avoid conflict by only colonizing empty star systems, but aliens saw this as proof of their aggressive expansion. Every precaution humanity took to be peaceful was being twisted into evidence of their hostile intentions. Captain Steve Parker had requested an emergency meeting with Kate. His ship, the Green Harvest, had become the focus of particular alien fear. When he arrived at her office, Steve looked exhausted. Dr. Williams, we need to talk about the biological warfare. Accusations, Steve said, settling into a chair. 3 more species have declared quarantine zones around human space. They're convinced we're spreading deadly diseases. Kate pulled up the latest alien intelligence reports on her computer. I've been studying their concerns. They're not entirely wrong to be worried about biological contamination, but they think we're doing it on purpose. The problem was that human biology was completely alien to most galactic species. Earth bacteria, viruses, and even human body chemistry could be toxic or deadly to other life forms. But aliens interpreted this natural biological incompatibility as evidence that humans were biological warfare specialists. Look at this report from the Aquatic Federation, Kate said, showing Steve the translation. They think our water purification systems are designed to poison liquid environments. Steve shook his head. Those systems are designed to make water safe for humans to drink. We can't survive without clean water. But to aquatic aliens who live in water, any system that changes water composition looks like a weapon, Kate explained. They don't understand that what's safe for humans might be toxic to them. The misunderstandings went deeper than just biology. Human industrial technology was centuries ahead of most alien civilizations, but not in the way aliens expected. While other species had focused on developing powerful weapons and military technology, humans had advanced their civilian and industrial capabilities. This is the latest analysis from the Chronari Federation, Kate said, opening another file. They're baffled by our resource extraction efficiency. They think our mining operations are too advanced to be civilian technology. Steve looked at the report. They're measuring the output of our asteroid mining platforms? Yes. And they can't believe that civilian equipment could be so effective. Their military mining operations are much less efficient than our commercial ones. It was a pattern Kate had noticed in all the alien communications. Most galactic species had developed along military lines, with their best technology reserved for warfare. The idea that a species would put their most advanced technology into civilian uses was completely foreign to them. Mike Turner brought in another stack of reports. Dr. Williams, we're getting more responses to our diplomatic messages. None of them are good. Kate looked through the new communications. The Stellar Dominion had sent a formal warning that any human ships entering their territory would be considered an act of war. The Machine Collective had started building defensive satellites around their entire star system. Even the usually peaceful tree people had begun evacuating their border colonies. What about our attempts to explain our terraforming technology? Kate asked. That's made things worse, Mike admitted. When we explained how we can change a planet's atmosphere to support human life, they assumed we could do the same thing to make planets uninhabitable for other species. Steve looked frustrated. Everything we say to prove we're peaceful just makes them more afraid of us. Kate understood his frustration. When humans explained that their atmospheric processors could create breathable air from toxic gases, aliens heard that humans could poison any planet's atmosphere. When humans described their ability to break down and recycle any material, aliens thought it meant humans could destroy any structure or device. The worst part is our population planning, Kate said, pulling up internal human documents. When we talk about establishing population centers and calculating carrying capacity, they think we're planning to replace existing alien populations. The truth was that human colonial planning was incredibly detailed and efficient. Humans calculated exactly how many people a planet could support, where to build cities for maximum efficiency, and how to extract resources without damaging the environment. To aliens, this looked like invasion planning on a massive scale. This intelligence report from the Void Hunters is particularly troubling, Mike said. They've been studying our colony ship designs, and they think our modular construction systems are for building military fortifications. Kate read the analysis and felt sick. The aliens had completely misunderstood human prefabricated construction technology. Human colony ships carried building modules that could be quickly assembled into hospitals, schools, homes, and factories. But to species that built everything by hand over long periods, the speed and efficiency of human construction looked military in nature. They think we can build a military base in days instead of years, Steve observed. Which is technically true, Kate admitted. Our construction drones can assemble a complete settlement in less than a week. But it's a civilian settlement, not a military base. The communication system chimed with an incoming message from Captain Grace Foster on the colony ship New Earth. When her image appeared on the screen, Grace looked worried. Dr. Williams, we have a situation. I tried to demonstrate our peaceful intentions to an Andromedan patrol by sharing our food replicator technology. Kate felt her heart sink. What happened? They're now convinced that our food production systems are designed to create biological agents, Grace explained. The fact that we can synthesize any organic compound has them terrified. It was another example of human technology being too advanced for aliens to understand. Human food replicators could create any food from basic organic materials, ensuring that colonists would never go hungry. But to aliens, the ability to create any organic compound looked like the ultimate biological warfare capability. Dr. Williams, Mike said quietly, I'm starting to think that peaceful contact might be impossible. Every time we try to explain our technology, we just convince them that we're more dangerous than they originally thought. Kate looked out her window at the ships preparing for the next colonial mission. Each vessel represented humanity's hopes for peaceful expansion into the galaxy. But she was beginning to realize that the galaxy saw something completely different when they looked at those same ships. The problem isn't just that they misunderstand our technology, Kate said slowly. It's that they can't imagine a species like us. They've never encountered a civilization that puts its best technology into civilian uses instead of military ones. Steve nodded grimly. And now they're all preparing for a war that we never wanted to fight. Kate made a decision that would have consequences for all of humanity. Cancel all diplomatic initiatives. We're going to try a different approach. What do you have in mind? Mike asked. If they're convinced we're a military threat, maybe it's time to show them what human military technology actually looks like, Kate said. When they see the difference between our civilian ships and our actual warships, maybe they'll understand that we've been telling the truth. But even as she said it, Kate wondered if that would make things better or worse. General Thyssera of the Chronari Federation stood before the largest gathering of alien military leaders in galactic history. Representatives from 37 different species filled the Great Council chamber on Nexus Station, all united by their fear of the human threat. "The situation has become critical," General Thyssera announced, her forearms gesturing at the holographic display showing human ship movements. "Intelligence reports confirm that the humans are mobilizing their entire invasion fleet. High Admiral..." Zenthar of the Stellar Dominion nodded his massive head in agreement. His species had fought wars across the galaxy for centuries, but even they had never seen anything like human military preparation. "Our analysis of human vessels shows technology we cannot match," Admiral Zenthar said in his deep voice. "Their mining equipment can cut through our strongest armor like it was paper. Their construction systems can build fortified positions faster than we can destroy them." Commander Slicks of the Aquatic Federation spoke up from his water-filled environment suit. "The biological threat cannot be ignored. Human agricultural systems could poison every water world in the galaxy. Our scientists estimate that human bacteria could kill 90% of our population within days." The fear in the room was real and growing. Each species had analyzed human technology and reached the same terrifying conclusion. Humanity possessed weapons disguised as civilian equipment that could destroy entire civilizations. "What concerns me most," said Counselor Vex of the Neural Web, "is their apparent lack of concern for galactic law. They enter claimed territory without permission. They ignore our warnings. They continue their expansion as if we do not exist." General Thyssera activated another display showing recent human activities. "Our spies report that humans are establishing what they call population centers throughout the Outer Rim. Each installation can support millions of their species." "Invasion bases," Admiral Zenthar corrected grimly. "They are preparing to flood the galaxy with their population while their terraforming weapons make our worlds uninhabitable." Meanwhile, on Earth, Colonial Administrator Dan Brooks was completely unaware of the massive military alliance forming against humanity. He sat in his office, reviewing reports from the latest colonial surveys and feeling optimistic about humanity's future among the stars. "The Kepler 442 system looks perfect for our next colony," Dan told Fleet Coordinator Nancy White as she entered his office. 3 habitable planets, abundant mineral resources, and no signs of intelligent life. Nancy sat down and spread out the mission plans on Dan's desk. "We can have the first wave of colonists there within 6 months. The Pioneer Spirit is already loaded with habitat modules, and the Earth's Hope has the agricultural packages ready to go." Dan nodded enthusiastically. "What about the terraforming equipment for the second planet?" "The atmosphere maker is standing by with a full atmospheric processing array," Nancy reported. "We can have that world breathing human normal air within 2 years." Neither of them realized that their routine colonial planning was being monitored by alien intelligence services. Every human communication about population deployment and atmospheric modification was being interpreted as evidence of humanity's invasion strategy. Back on Nexus Station, the military leaders were reviewing intercepted human communications. Translator AI systems were working constantly to decode human languages, but the context of human civilization was so alien that almost everything was being misunderstood. This message discusses resource extraction quotas, reported intelligence, Chief Krath of the Machine Collective. They are planning to strip mine entire star systems. General Thysera studied the translation. And this one mentions population distribution patterns. They are calculating how many humans each conquered world can support. The aliens could not understand that humans were simply planning peaceful colonies. Their own civilizations had expanded through conquest and military force for so long that the idea of peaceful expansion was incomprehensible to them. Admiral Zenthar pulled up strategic charts showing human ship movements. Their fleet positioning confirms our worst fears. They have divided their forces into multiple groups, each targeting different sectors of the galaxy simultaneously. What he was actually seeing was humanity's standard colonial procedure. Different ships went to different star systems to establish separate colonies, spreading out to reduce the risk of disaster and maximize the chances of successful settlement. But to military minds, it looked like a coordinated multi-front invasion. Thesu, humans must be stopped before they can complete their deployment, declared Counselor Vex. Once their population centers are established, it will be too late. Dr. Zeph of the Gentle Minds, one of the most peaceful species in the galaxy, spoke with unusual urgency. My people have never advocated for military action, but the threat to galactic civilization is too great to ignore. We must act. General Thysera felt the weight of the moment. Then we are all agreed. The combined fleets of 37 species will move to intercept the human invasion force. The planning began immediately. Admiral Zenthar took charge of coordinating the various fleet movements. Each species would contribute their most powerful warships to create an armada unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Void Hunters will provide fast attack vessels, Admiral Zenthar announced. The Crystal Collective will bring their siege platforms. The Machine Collective will contribute their automated defense networks. Commander Slicks added, the Aquatic Federation will position our submarine fleets around any water worlds the humans might target. On Earth, Nancy White was reviewing the supply manifests for the next colonial mission when an aide brought her an urgent message. Ma'am, we're detecting unusual activity in several alien star systems, the aide reported. Large numbers of ships are moving toward the galactic rim. Nancy frowned. What kind of ships? Our long-range sensors suggest they're military vessels, but we don't know why they're mobilizing. Dan Brooks joined the conversation via video link from his office. Maybe they're conducting joint training exercises? We know several alien species have military alliances. Nancy wasn't so sure. The scale seems too large for training, and the timing is suspicious, right when we're expanding our colonial activities. What they didn't know was that the largest military force in galactic history was assembling specifically to stop humanity's invasion. Thousands of alien warships were converging on the projected path of the human colonial fleet. Back on Nexus Station, General Thysera was finalizing the battle plans. We will intercept the human fleet at the Proxima Relay. That is the only hyperspace junction they can use to reach the outer systems. Admiral Zenthar studied the tactical displays. Our combined firepower should be more than sufficient to destroy their ships before they can deploy their weapons. What if they surrender? Asked Dr. Zeph, still hoping for a peaceful resolution. Then we will demand the complete withdrawal of all human forces from galactic space, General Thysera replied. They must return to their home system and abandon their expansion plans. Counselor Vex shook his head sadly. I fear that creatures capable of such advanced deception will not surrender easily. They will probably try to convince us that their weapons are peaceful tools. Intelligence Chief Krath agreed. Human psychology remains alien to us, but their actions speak clearly. No species develops such advanced civilian technology without military applications in mind. As the alien armada prepared to move out, General Thisera felt the burden of command. She was about to start the largest war in galactic history, but she believed it was necessary to save civilization itself. All fleets, prepare for departure, she commanded. We go to face an enemy unlike any we have encountered before. But we fight not just for our own species, but for every life form in the galaxy. The die was cast. Humanity's peaceful colonial fleet was about to encounter a military force that vastly outnumbered and outgunned them. But the greatest shock was still to come when both sides realized the true nature of what they were fighting. Admiral Tony Mills stood on the bridge of the research vessel Starseeker, watching the hyperspace exit point grow larger on the main screen. The ship was part of humanity's latest colonial convoy, carrying scientists and survey equipment to map potential colony worlds in the Outer Rim. Hyperspace exit in 30 seconds, reported Navigation Officer Sarah Kim. All systems are green for normal space transition. Tony nodded, looking forward to seeing the target star system for the first time. The Starseeker was leading a group of 12 human ships, each carrying different components for humanity's expansion into this region of space. Transition complete, Sarah announced. We are now in the Proxima Relay System. What appeared on the screen made Tony's blood run cold. Surrounding the hyperspace exit point was the largest fleet of alien warships he had ever imagined. Hundreds of vessels from dozens of different species, all with weapons powered and pointed directly at the human convoy. "Battle stations!" Tony shouted, though he knew his research vessel had no real weapons. "All ships! Emergency formation!" The alien fleet was massive and terrifying. Tony could see ship designs he had never encountered before, from sleek Zephyrian cruisers to the massive dreadnoughts of the Stellar Dominion. Energy readings showed enough firepower to destroy planets. "Sir, we're being hailed by the alien fleet," Communications Officer Brad Chen reported. "It's coming from multiple sources simultaneously." "Put it on screen." The main viewer split into multiple sections, showing several alien commanders. Tony recognized General Thisera from intelligence briefings, but the others were unknown species. All of them looked ready for war. "Human vessels, you are surrounded," General Thisera announced. "Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in your immediate destruction." Tony stepped forward, trying to appear calm despite the impossible odds. "This is Admiral Tony Mills of the Earth research vessel Starseeker. We are a peaceful scientific expedition. We have no weapons." Admiral Zenthar's massive form filled part of the screen. "Do not insult our intelligence, human. Our sensors clearly detect your planet-destroying mining equipment and atmospheric warfare devices." "Those are scientific instruments," Tony protested. "We're here to study star systems and evaluate them for possible colonization." "Colonization means conquest," snarled another alien commander that Tony didn't recognize. "We will not allow you to establish invasion bases in this sector." Captain Grace Foster contacted Tony from the colony ship New Earth. Her vessel was the largest in the convoy, loaded with habitat modules and construction equipment for building settlements. "Admiral Mills, I'm reading massive energy spikes from the alien fleet," Grace reported. "They're targeting our ships with enough firepower to vaporize us." Tony looked at the tactical display and felt helpless. The human convoy consisted of research ships, colony transports, and industrial vessels. None of them were designed for combat. Against the assembled might of 37 alien species, they wouldn't last 5 minutes. General Thisera, please, listen to me. Tony tried again. We're not invaders, we're scientists, colonists, and engineers. Our ships carry families, children, and civilians. More lies, General Thisera replied coldly. No species sends civilians to establish forward military bases. Your deception is obvious. Captain Dan Foster on the industrial ship Heavy Lifter opened a communication channel. Admiral, they're scanning our cargo holds. I think they're trying to identify our equipment. Tony hoped that a detailed scan might finally convince the aliens that human ships were peaceful. But as the scans progressed, he could see confusion spreading across the alien commanders' faces. This makes no sense, Admiral Zenthar said, apparently speaking to his own crew. The energy signatures are all wrong for military equipment. Intelligence Chief Krath of the Machine Collective appeared on screen, looking puzzled. General Thisera, our analysis of the human vessels shows irregularities. What kind of irregularities? General Thisera demanded. Their weapons appear to be exactly what they claim, mining and construction equipment. The power levels are consistent with civilian industrial tools, not military hardware. Tony felt a spark of hope. That's what we've been trying to tell you. We're not a military force. We're a colonial expedition. But instead of relief, Tony saw growing suspicion on the alien faces. Commander Slicks of the Aquatic Federation spoke up. If these are truly civilian vessels, then where is their military escort? No species sends undefended ships into contested space. This isn't contested space, Tony explained. According to our star charts, this system is unclaimed. Unclaimed? General Thisera's voice rose in disbelief. This system is clearly marked as neutral territory under galactic law. All civilized species respect these boundaries. Tony realized another fundamental misunderstanding. We don't have copies of galactic law. Humans have never been contacted by galactic authorities. We didn't know these boundaries existed. The alien commanders exchanged glances that Tony couldn't interpret. Dr. Zeph of the Gentle Mind spoke for the first time. Admiral Mills, are you claiming that humanity has never had contact with the Galactic Council? The what? Tony asked, genuinely confused. The Galactic Council, Dr. Zeph explained, slowly. The governing body that maintains peace between species, establishes territorial boundaries, and regulates the use of dangerous technologies. We've never heard of it, Tony admitted. Until 6 months ago, we didn't know any other intelligent species existed. This statement caused an uproar among the alien commanders. Several of them began speaking at once in their own languages before the translation systems could keep up. That's impossible, Admiral Zenthar finally said. Any species advanced enough for interstellar travel must have registered with the Council. Captain Grace Foster had been quietly running scans of the alien fleet. Admiral Mills, I'm detecting something strange. Most of these ships are purely military designs, but their civilian technology appears to be much less advanced than ours. Tony looked at the data Grace was sending him. The alien warships had incredibly powerful weapons and shields, but their life support systems, manufacturing capabilities, and civilian infrastructure were primitive compared to human standards. General Thisera, Tony said slowly, may I ask you something? What do your people use for space-based mining operations? Mining? General Thysera looked confused. Planets are mined by planetary-based operations. Space mining is too expensive and dangerous for civilian use. What about asteroid belt resources? Those require military mining platforms with heavy weapons for protection against pirates, Admiral Zenthar explained. Only military forces can operate safely in space. Tony began to understand the problem. Human civilization had developed differently from the galactic norm. While alien species had focused on military technology and territorial warfare, humans had advanced their civilian and industrial capabilities to incredible levels. "Captain Foster," Tony said over the comm, "show them our food replicator technology." Grace activated her ship's food production systems and transmitted the technical specifications to the alien fleet. The response was immediate and shocking. "By the void," whispered Intelligence Chief Krath. "They can synthesize organic compounds at the molecular level. That's beyond anything we've ever seen." Dr. Zeph spoke with growing amazement. "Admiral Mills, your food production capability exceeds our most advanced biological research facilities." "It's just standard colony equipment," Tony explained. "Every human settlement needs reliable food production." "Standard?" General Thysera's voice was barely a whisper. "You carry technology that our greatest scientists can only dream of, and you call it standard?" Tony was beginning to realize that the galaxy's fear of humanity might be based on a terrible misunderstanding. Human technology wasn't advanced because they were warriors. It was advanced because they had focused on civilian applications instead of military ones. "General, if I may," Tony said carefully, "what is the most advanced civilian technology in your civilization?" General Thysera paused before answering. "Our civilian manufacturing can produce about 50 different types of products. Our food production requires specialized agricultural worlds. Our construction projects take decades to complete." Tony felt dizzy as the implications hit him. "Grace, tell them about our construction capabilities." Captain Foster transmitted data about human automated construction systems. The alien fleet fell silent as they processed what they were seeing. "Impossible," Admiral Zenthar breathed. "Your construction systems can build a complete city in days?" "If we have the raw materials, yes," Grace confirmed. "It's just efficient. Modular construction." Tony watched as the truth slowly dawned on the alien commanders. They had assembled the largest military force in galactic history to stop what they thought was an invasion fleet, but they were discovering that humanity's civilian technology was more advanced than their military equipment. "Admiral Mills," General Thysera said slowly, "if these ships represent your civilian capabilities, then what does your actual military look like?" The silence that followed General Thysera's question was deafening. Admiral Tony Mills looked at the screen showing hundreds of alien warships, all waiting for an answer that would change everything. "General," Tony said carefully, "I think there's been a fundamental misunderstanding about human civilization. Ambassador Carl Johnson had just arrived from Earth aboard the diplomatic vessel Peaceful Contact. His ship was small compared to the massive alien fleet, but it carried the authority to speak for all of humanity. As his vessel approached the standoff, Carl was briefed on the situation. "Admiral Mills, this is Ambassador Johnson," Carl announced, over the comm. "I've been authorized by Earth to negotiate on behalf of humanity." General Thysera's image appeared larger on the screen as she focused on the new arrival. "Ambassador, we demand to see your real military fleet. Our sensors show only civilian vessels. Where are your warships?" Carl exchanged glances with military. Liaison Kelly Adams, who had accompanied him on the diplomatic mission. Kelly stepped forward, her face grave with the weight of what she had to reveal. General Thisera, I am Colonel Kelly Adams, the highest-ranking military officer in this sector, Kelly began. What you see here is not our military fleet. These are civilian ships, research vessels, colony transports, and industrial platforms. We know that, Admiral Zenthar interjected impatiently. We demand to see your actual military forces. Stop this deception. Kelly took a deep breath. General, there is no deception. What I'm about to tell you is the truth, and I understand it will be difficult to believe. The alien commanders leaned forward, expecting to hear about humanity's secret weapons or hidden fleet bases. Humanity doesn't have a traditional space navy, Kelly said simply. The statement hung in space like a physical thing. Several alien commanders began speaking at once, their translation systems struggling to keep up with the babble of confused voices. That's impossible, General Thisera finally managed. No species achieves interstellar travel without military space forces. Ambassador Carl Johnson stepped forward. General, may I explain how human civilization developed? Speak, General, Thisera commanded, though her voice suggested she expected more lies. Carl activated a holographic display showing Earth's history. Humanity achieved interstellar flight through commercial and scientific development, not military necessity. Our space industry grew from civilian needs, asteroid mining, orbital manufacturing, and exploration. But conflict drives technological advancement, Admiral Zenthar protested. War pushes species to develop their greatest achievements. For humanity. It was different, Carl explained. Our greatest technological leaps came from civilian applications. We needed better engines for cargo transport, not warships. We developed advanced manufacturing for colonies, not military bases. Intelligence Chief Krath studied the data Carl was transmitting. Ambassador, these industrial specifications, your civilian manufacturing capability exceeds our military. Production by orders of magnitude. Kelly Adams nodded grimly. That's what we're trying to explain. Human civilization focused on civilian technology while yours focused on military development. We took different paths. Dr. Zeph of the Gentle Mind spoke up, his voice filled with wonder. You mean to say that all of this advanced technology was developed for peaceful purposes? Yes, Carl confirmed. Our mining lasers were designed to extract resources efficiently. Our construction systems were created to build colonies quickly. Our atmospheric processors were made to create habitable worlds. But surely you have some military forces, General Thisera insisted. What do you use to protect your territory? Kelly Adams looked uncomfortable. We have a few patrol ships designed to stop pirates and protect shipping lanes, maybe 24 vessels total. The alien fleet commander stared at her in disbelief. Admiral Zenthar was the first to find his voice. 24 ships to protect an entire star-spanning civilization. We've never needed more, Kelly explained. Human space was peaceful until we encountered the Zephyrian Empire 6 months ago. Captain Rick Turner chose that moment to arrive. Aboard one of humanity's actual military vessels, the Guardian was a patrol ship designed for anti-piracy operations, and compared to the massive alien warships, it looked like a toy. This is Captain Rick Turner of the Earth Patrol Ship Guardian, he announced. I'm the senior military commander for this sector. The aliens stared at the small human vessel on their screens. The Guardian was barely 1/10 the size of the smallest alien warship present. That's a military vessel? Commander Slicks asked in disbelief. One of our largest, Rick confirmed. The Guardian is equipped with anti-pirate weapons and defensive systems. Intelligence Chief Krath ran a scan of the human patrol ship. General, the weapon systems on that vessel are less powerful than our escape pods. The truth was starting to sink in for the alien commanders. They had assembled the largest military force in galactic history to fight an enemy that barely had a military at all. Let me understand this correctly, General Thesera said slowly. The ships we've been calling your invasion fleet are actually civilian vessels? Correct, Ambassador Johnson confirmed. And your actual military consists of a few dozen patrol boats? Correct. Then how? General Thesera struggled with the concept. How did you become so powerful? Kelly Adams stepped forward again. General, we're not powerful in the way you understand power. We don't have massive fleets or planet-killing weapons. But we do have something else. What? Admiral Zenthar demanded. Industrial capacity, Kelly said simply. What you've seen today are mining operations, construction capabilities, manufacturing systems. That's not military technology disguised as civilian equipment. It's civilian equipment that's more advanced than your military technology. The implications hit the alien commanders like a physical blow. Dr. Zeph was the first to understand. You could build a military fleet, he whispered. With your industrial capabilities, you could construct warships that would dwarf anything we've ever seen. We could, Carl admitted, but we haven't because we don't want to. Don't want to? General Thesera's voice cracked. You have the capability to dominate the galaxy, and you choose not to. We choose to explore and colonize instead, Carl explained. We want to find new worlds and build new homes, not conquer existing ones. Captain Grace Foster from the New Earth had been monitoring the conversation. If I may add something, Ambassador? Carl nodded. General Thesera, our construction systems could build 1,000 warships in the time it took your species to assemble this fleet. Our manufacturing capabilities could produce weapons and shields using technology you've never seen. But we use those same systems to build hospitals, schools, and farms instead. The alien fleet hung in space, suddenly uncertain. They had come to fight a military power, but they had found something much more terrifying, a species with unlimited potential for warfare that chose peace instead. There's something else you need to understand, Kelly Adams said quietly. Everything you've seen today, our mining ships, colony vessels, industrial platforms, all of this was built without any military purpose in mind. What are you saying? Admiral Zenthar asked, though his voice suggested he was afraid to hear the answer. I'm saying that if humanity ever decided to build actual warships, using actual military technology, optimized for warfare instead of peaceful purposes. Kelly paused, letting the implications sink in. Well, what you see today would look like children's toys in comparison. The alien commanders stared at the human ships with new understanding. They had been afraid of humanity's civilian fleet. The thought of what humanity could build if they actually tried to create weapons was too terrifying to contemplate. General Thesera spoke for all of them when she whispered, "What have we done?" General Thesera stared at the human ships on her screen, her mind struggling to process what she had learned. The largest military alliance in galactic history had assembled to fight an enemy that didn't exist, at least not in the way they had imagined. "Ambassador Johnson," she said finally, "we demand proof of your claims. Show us your real military fleet." Carl Johnson looked to Colonel Kelly Adams, who seemed to age 10 years in that moment. "General, that's exactly the problem. There is no real military fleet to show you." Admiral Zenthar's massive form shifted on the screen. Impossible. Even the most peaceful species maintains defense forces. You must have hidden bases, secret shipyards, classified weapons programs. Captain Rick Turner from the patrol ship Guardian laughed bitterly. General, I wish we did. I'm looking at humanity's entire military space force right here. What do you mean? Intelligence Chief Krath asked. Rick gestured to his small ship. The Guardian, 3 sister ships like her, and maybe 20 smaller patrol boats scattered. Across human space. That's it. That's our entire Navy. The silence that followed was profound. Dr. Zeph of the Gentle Minds was the first to speak. Captain Turner, you're telling us that humanity has colonized dozens of star systems, built an interstellar civilization, and achieved technological capabilities that surpass our military equipment, all without a space navy? That's exactly what I'm telling you, Rick confirmed. We never needed one. Human space was peaceful. Chief Engineer Sam Wright contacted the group from the industrial vessel heavy builder. His ship represented humanity's construction capabilities. And what he had to say would change everything. If I may interrupt, Sam said, I think the aliens deserve to understand what they're really dealing with. Explain, General Thisra commanded. Sam activated his ship's manufacturing displays. Generals, what you've seen today is humanity's civilian industrial base, but that same industrial base could be converted to military production. How quickly? Admiral Zenthar asked, though his voice suggested he feared the answer. With current resources and full mobilization, Sam calculated quickly. We could have our first military-grade warships operational within 60 days. 60 days. Commander, Slicks gasped. It takes our shipyards 2 years to build a cruiser. Your shipyards aren't designed for rapid production, Sam explained. Human industry is built for efficiency and speed. We have to be fast to support our colonial expansion. Dr. Helen Price joined the conversation from the research vessel Deep Explorer. As humanity's leading expert on applied technology, her words carried weight even among the aliens. Generals, I think you need to understand something fundamental about human engineering, Helen said. We don't design single-purpose systems. Our technology is modular and adaptable. What does that mean? General Tissera asked. Helen pulled up technical specifications. Our mining lasers can be reconfigured as ship-to-ship weapons. Our construction, drones can build defensive installations. Our atmospheric processors can create chemical weapons if needed. The horror on the alien faces was visible. Intelligence Chief Krath spoke first. You're saying that every civilian ship in your fleet could be converted into a warship? Not just converted, Helen corrected. Improved. Our civilian systems are over-engineered for safety and efficiency. Military applications would be much more powerful. Captain Grace Foster from the New Earth added her own disturbing perspective. Generals, our colony ships carry everything needed to build complete industrial civilizations. If we wanted to, we could establish military shipyards on any planet within months. Admiral Zenthar looked at his tactical displays with new understanding. You could turn any system you colonize into a military stronghold. We could, Ambassador Johnson admitted. But we don't want to. Want has nothing to do with capability, General Tissera said grimly. You're telling us that humanity has the industrial base to outproduce the entire Galactic Alliance? Sam Wright ran some calculations. General, if humanity converted just 10% of our civilian production to military use, we could build more warships in a year than your alliance has built in a century. The alien commanders exchanged glances filled with a new kind of fear. They had been afraid of humanity's supposed invasion fleet, but that was nothing compared to learning about humanity's potential for actual warfare. There's something else, Dr. Helen Price continued. Human technology development doesn't follow the same patterns as galactic civilization. Explain, Dr. Zeff requested. Most species develop military technology first, then adapt it for civilian use, Helen said. Humans did the opposite. We developed civilian technology to incredible levels, which means it can be adapted for military purposes in ways you've never seen. Colonel Kelly Adams stepped forward with the most frightening revelation yet. Generals, everything you've seen today was built by humans who never imagined they'd need to fight a war. We have entire research divisions working on technologies that could be weaponized, but we've never bothered because we had no enemies. What kind of technologies? General Thisera asked, though she seemed reluctant to hear the answer. Nanotechnology for construction that could disassemble enemy ships, Helen listed. Biological systems that could adapt to any environment. Computer viruses that could take control of entire fleets. Energy systems that could power weapons beyond anything currently imaginable. And none of this was designed for warfare? Admiral Zenthar asked weakly. None of it, Kelly confirmed. It was all developed for exploration, colonization, and improving human life. Captain Rick Turner looked at his small patrol ship with new eyes. Generals, I'm beginning to realize that my ship might be the most primitive vessel in this entire encounter. What do you mean? Commander Slicks asked. I mean that our fearsome patrol boat was designed to fight pirates with stolen mining equipment, Rick explained. But the civilian ships here have technology that makes my weapons look like ancient history. Sam Wright nodded grimly. The heavy builder could probably take apart Rick's ship with our construction tools and rebuild it as something twice as powerful. The full implications were becoming clear to the alien alliance. They hadn't just misidentified civilian ships as military vessels. They had discovered that humanity's civilian technology was so advanced that their actual military potential was beyond calculation. Ambassador Johnson, General Thisera said, slowly, what would happen if humanity decided to build a real military? Carl Johnson looked around at the human ships, seeing them with new understanding. General, I honestly don't know. We've never tried. But based on what I'm learning today, he paused, considering the terrifying possibilities. I think the galaxy should be very grateful that humans prefer to build farms instead of fortresses. Dr. Zeff spoke for the entire alien alliance when he whispered, Indeed. What have we awakened? The standoff at the Proxima Relay had lasted for 6 hours, but in that time the entire galactic understanding of power had shifted. General Thisera looked at her fleet commanders and saw the same realization in all their eyes. They had made a terrible mistake. Ambassador Johnson, she said finally, we need to discuss the future of galactic relations. Carl Johnson nodded, but it was Chief Engineer Sam Wright who spoke first. Generals, before we talk about the future, I think you need to see something. Sam activated the industrial systems aboard the heavy builder, and within minutes, the massive ship began to transform. Construction arms extended from hidden bays, manufacturing units came online, and the entire vessel reconfigured itself. This is what our construction ship looks like when it's preparing for a major building project, Sam explained. The alien commanders watched in fascination and growing alarm as the heavy builder became something that looked far more military than civilian. Weapons-grade fabrication units, heavy-duty defensive systems, and enough firepower to level mountains, all disguised as construction equipment. By the void, Admiral Zenthar breathed. That's not a construction ship. That's a mobile fortress. It's both, Sam said simply. Human engineering doesn't believe in single-purpose designs. Dr. Helen Price from the Deep Explorer continued the demonstration. Generals, let me show you something else that might help you understand humanity's approach to technology. Helen activated her ship's research systems, and the aliens watched as the vessel's laboratories began producing various compounds and materials. Within minutes, she had created several substances that made the alien sensors go wild with alarm. Dr. Price, Intelligence Chief Krath said urgently. Our sensors are detecting chemical weapons, explosive compounds, and biological agents aboard your ship. No, Helen corrected gently. You're detecting the raw materials that could become those things if we chose to use them that way. But we're actually producing medicine, construction materials, and terraforming bacteria. The distinction was lost on none of the alien commanders. Humanity had the ability to create weapons of mass destruction as a byproduct of their everyday research activities. Captain Grace Foster decided it was time for the most important demonstration of all. Generals, I want to show you what human cooperation looks like. Grace sent signals to all the human ships in the convoy. Within minutes, they began moving into a complex formation that the aliens initially thought was defensive. But as the ships connected with each other using flexible docking tubes and shared power systems, something unprecedented happened. The 12 separate human vessels became one massive integrated platform. What you're seeing, Grace explained, is standard human colonial procedure. Our ships are designed to work together, sharing resources, power, and capabilities. General Thessera stared at the combined human fleet. You've just created a platform larger than our biggest dreadnought. And more capable, added Sam Wright. Combined like this, we have the manufacturing power of a major industrial world, the research capabilities of an entire university system, and enough raw firepower to... Well, we've never actually calculated it. Ambassador Johnson saw the fear in the alien faces and decided it was time to offer hope instead of terror. Generals, I want to make something very clear. Everything you've seen today demonstrates humanity's potential for warfare, but it also demonstrates something much more important. What? Dr. Zeff asked. Our potential for cooperation, Carl explained. The same technology that could build weapons can build hospitals. The same systems that could destroy planets can heal them. The same industrial capacity that could produce a war fleet can construct a peaceful civilization. Colonel Kelly Adams stepped forward with the most important statement of the day. Generals, humanity has a choice to make. We can use our capabilities to build an empire through conquest, or we can use them to build a civilization through cooperation. And which will you choose? General Thessera asked. That depends, Kelly said, on how the galaxy chooses to treat us. The implications hung in space like a sword over the alien alliance. They had come here to destroy what they thought was an invasion fleet, but they had discovered something far more dangerous and far more valuable. A species with unlimited potential that still preferred peace to war. Ambassador, General Thessera said slowly, what would humanity require to maintain peaceful relations with the galactic community? Carl Johnson smiled for the first time since the standoff began. General, we want exactly what we've always wanted. The right to explore, to colonize uninhabited worlds, and to build peaceful settlements among the stars. And in return, Admiral Zenthar asked, we offer our friendship, our technology, and our protection against any threats to galactic civilization, Carl replied. Human industrial capacity could benefit everyone, not just humanity. Dr. Helen. Price activated a new display showing human technological capabilities. Generals, imagine what we could accomplish together. Human manufacturing building homes for refugee populations. Human terraforming creating new worlds for overcrowded species. Human research solving problems that have plagued the galaxy for centuries. The alien commanders began to see a different future than the one they had feared. Instead of conquest and destruction, they were being offered partnership and mutual benefit. There is one condition, Colonel Kelly Adams said firmly. Humanity will not tolerate aggression against our people or our colonies. We prefer peace, but we are capable of defending ourselves. How capable? Commander Slicks asked. Sam Wright answered by showing the alien commanders a simple calculation. Generals, if humanity converted our entire civilian industrial base to military production, we could build a fleet that would outnumber every ship in the galaxy combined. And that fleet would be equipped with technology that your species can't even imagine yet. But, Carl Johnson added quickly, we would much rather build schools, hospitals, and homes. General Thysera made the decision that would reshape galactic civilization. Ambassador Johnson, on behalf of the Galactic Alliance, I formally request that humanity join the Galactic Council as a full member species. With full rights to colonize uninhabited systems? Carl asked. With full rights and the protection of galactic law, General Thysera confirmed. And with our sincere apologies for this misunderstanding. Admiral Zenthar added his own perspective. Ambassador, I have fought wars across the galaxy for 3 centuries. I have seen the rise and fall of empires. But I have never encountered a species like humanity. What makes us different? Carl asked. You are the first species I have ever met that became powerful by accident, Admiral Zenthar explained. You developed capabilities that could conquer the galaxy, but you used them to plant gardens instead. Dr. Zeph spoke for many when he said, The galaxy is a better place with humanity in it, Ambassador Johnson. We were fools to fear you. As the massive alien fleet began to disperse, returning to their home systems with a new understanding of humanity, General Thysera sent one final message. Ambassador, there is something the galaxy needs to understand about your species. What's that, General? We were right to fear you, she said, with what might have been a smile. But we were wrong about why. We feared your weapons when we should have been amazed by your restraint. The human ships began to separate and resume their original mission, peaceful colonization of the Outer Rim. But the galaxy would never be the same. For the first time in galactic history, a species had achieved ultimate power not through conquest, but through the simple desire to build a better life among the stars. As the Starseeker prepared to continue its survey mission, Admiral Tony Mills reflected on what had happened. Humanity had avoided a war, not by demonstrating their weakness, but by revealing their strength. The galaxy now understood that Earth's fleet was indeed something to be feared, not because they were warships, but because they weren't. And that perhaps was the most human thing of all.